What's going on? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you hit the like button upon coming in. Let's give people a couple minutes to come in so that way we can get this very important live stream out the way. Yeah, what's going on, Mom Perry? Uh, Yo, what's going on, man?
All right, MOT, what's up, brother?
Oh, chilling
Hang
out,
on,
man. Go through
hang
this
on, sir.
list. Maybe you have some more things to add as we go along. But make sure y'all hit the like button upon coming in. We'll go over this list. Chapter one, once you make legit money, even though you could practice all this stuff before you make legit money. And if you don't have all this stuff solved, you're not going to keep your legit money. Period.
That is a fact. that is that is a fact.
All right, man. Let's go over the first one, and probably the most important. You gotta only hang around and deal with people who have certified and verified career fields. No entertainers, none of those type of people, because entertainers thrive off conflict and gossip behind your back. So if you have an actual certified career field that's not entertainment or anything else, you got to have some skin in the game, man. Pretty much. So what you think about the first one?
Oh, that's an absolute fact. The people that you actually stay close to, who are actually in, career fields and professions, those people tend to, a lot of times, to be valuable resources for you as well. They know others. You guys can actually kind of network with each other as well and expand whatever businesses that you're involved with. Very important to have those types of people around. In so many ways, your friends and your connections are your wealth. That's how that is actually built. Wealth of knowledge base as well. Very important to develop that. You see people hanging around non-productive folks, you're going to look at a fairly non-productive individual. It's generally what you're looking at.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's give a shout out to the people who came through. It's going Craig Tech Guy, Ma Perry, Stephen Bishop, TJ, Cedric Webb, and K Diggy. TJ. All right, man. So let's go into this next one. Let's go on XC. The next thing. Never put people on, only hire professionals. Those professionals can train the people that you want to put on. But you got to start moving with professionals out the gate. You have to move with professionals because professionals can guarantee things. People who you put on and people who you put in position will walk away just as quickly as they walked in. They will walk out and leave you behind.
That's very critical. And when you deal with people more in a professional group, it also keeps so much of the other riffraff out. Certain kinds of people are not going to get around you. Very important to have a crew of people around you that are very like-minded, folks who are also very professional, and it's also going to keep you somewhat insulated from a lot of riff raff. Very important to keep your circle professional, and it's good to have it big, but there's no problem with you having that circle small as well.
Yeah, for the next one is what's going on. I mean, which drives into the next one. It's Wait, hold on a second. Turn this off real quick. All right, let's roll up. All right, so for the next one, man, um, there has to be a cutoff point for you to have f boy friends. There's no real need or reason to have f boy friends for a past a certain point, especially past like college. You should have got rid of all those type of connections a long time ago.
F boys are not your friends.
Not at
What F
all.
boys, what F boys are people that you bring around you. They'll bring a lot of effery to you. They'll bring chaos, ridiculousness, and they will bring you down. No reason to have F boys around you whatsoever. Cut, if they're around, cut, cauterize, and continue moving forward and do not look back. Just like a useless female, the same thing with an F boy. Useless, of no value. Only thing they can do is bring you harm and chaos.
I mean, because F boys are kind of different from the actual entertainer, even though they are one and the same most of the time. Because at least they got some type of marketable skill, even though it's not used very well.
Yeah,
However, there, there's clearly no real reason to have non-career field related people around. Um,
well,
for the
I
most,
think that's no, that's a great point. I think I see someone Cedric. I think he says F boys can be at your place of work too. Yeah, if F boys are at your place of work, make sure that you have nothing to do with them. Keep a circle on them and deal with them very superficially. Don't have them being caught up in the middle of anything serious that you're doing because you will come to grief behind that. That is guaranteed.
yeah, a lot of people don't understand that, man. That well, actually, let's just go into the next one. If you cannot handle yourself around women, you cannot have this person around you for any reason because most of your money goes out of your pocket from the things that come out of your mouth and the type of women company that you keep.
Hmm, boy, one thing that's something that Manosphere covered this years ago. That's why people don't understand that right now. I don't know what more to say. If you can't handle yourself around women, you can't handle women properly. You can't handle your life that well. I mean, we've seen people who've done well in business and have made some money, bought the wrong type of woman around them, and they've paid dearly for it. Every single one of them, and we've seen it from entertainers to business people to regular folks. We see this routinely. So yeah, it's if you can't handle that situation right, you're not going to handle large parts of your life right because they can bring a lot of very deep problems to you. So yeah, you have to learn how to really manage that and manage that well. Um, Far too dangerous to have anyone around who can't manage your women around them. It's a bad scene.
Hey, I mean, you have to understand that your job of getting your stuff together wasn't to bring the whole hood with you. It was to create an entirely different cultural situation to where you left these people behind.
Well, I
And
think yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
and being the dude who got his stuff together among hood dudes and you still hanging out in those area of town and with those people, can't mix match the both things. Can't do it.
No, they're diametrically opposed. To say that you want to be orderly, but yet you want to bring chaos into your game, it's diametrically opposed to what your overall goals are. You want to be organized, moving forward, having your life together. You can't bring tremendous chaos around you. I mean, because if you do, you're going to have chaos, and I've seen that with some relatively sharp people. I remember this good friend of mine, Doctor Stone, excellent individual. He's now a top vascular surgeon. He's in the South, actually in Alabama, but he's a very sharp individual. Um, And one of the terrible things is, he married a very chaotic person. But one thing I have to say, he recognized that pretty early, got rid of that situation, cut, cauterized, and moved forward. So when you do run into that, it's unfortunate. You have to understand that, and you have to be willing to do what you have to do to relieve that situation of you, to get that away from you. And many of us have learned the hard lesson the hard way, but there are many others who have run into that type of situation, cut it off, and move forward, stay very productive, and that's what you have to do. So when you manage your life, just like anything else, you have big problems that come about. You have to learn how to solve them and learn how to get those problems behind you quickly. Longer you let them last, the worse they'll be.
Um, I mean, this kind of goes without saying, but it needs to be said anyway. Never go in business with somebody who you're dating ever.
Oh my gosh! Mm. Oh man, that is the worst decision. In fact, I had some very I've had some very good close. Some of them, some of my friends, people on someone on the business side are Jewish people, and some of these Jews were very interesting about how they saw things. And they would say the person you want to make a business partner of you is someone that you don't really know, somebody who you know that has business reputation and is strong with business, but yet you and that person are not close personal friends, and
Yeah.
certainly not any woman or girlfriend or anything else like that. It's somebody who is just going to deal on business. Your relationship is going to be a very strong business one, and that's what they work on, and they become very successful that way. You start getting tied up with women. These people, you bring them in close in business, and you get all that tied up, something goes wrong, you are in a world of hurt. Because to try to untie that and separate that is going to bring in a lot of problems. That's going to cost you a lot of money, certainly in the short and possibly even in the long run. You want a business partner who's strictly there on business. You understand how that business works and you deal with it strictly from there. And there's no emotionality or any types of personal relationships involved that can get in the way, and that's fundamental. That's something I actually learned to see over time, just how important that really is, even with family. So you have to be very careful with that as well. So to
Yeah,
say
well,
someone,
that dovetails into the next one. Never bring
yeah,
family into the mix either. Oh,
it all depends if that family member thinks just like you and it's thinking strictly business, and it's understood that this is business. That's a very rare type of thing that can happen. It can happen, but you have to be on the exact same wavelength, and that is extremely difficult to find. That's why most people say don't do it, because then they start pulling on the family and the relationship heartstrings, and then
yeah.
things get things get screwed up from there. And you're talking about money in business, where it's just not a you go to banks and other organizations that may lend you money and so forth, or you get involved with investing in your business. It's not going to be about your personal or friendly relationships. It's going to be about the bottom line, and that's a problem. So you have to really gear and move from that perspective. Anything else is potentially very dangerous to you.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn this from the hard way. That don't go into business with somebody who has money problems from the jump. And it's like there's a lot of people who want to attach themselves to things that they know that is going to be successful, but they don't bring anything actually to the table when they kind of show up there. They're around for the conversation, like, "Oh, I'm all in." How are you all in when you're just hearing the idea? Like, you got to be a stakeholder here. And that's what I mean by don't bring these people in as actual employees. If you got to do all the training for them and everything else, I'm like, everybody wants to be cool, but don't nobody want to put the time in when it's time to put the time in. They're just there for the benefit, right?
that is absolutely correct, and they are and they will leech off you. You know that's how that works. It's unfortunate, but that's just how that works. And um, people have money problems, and if they come back right, they start to have their money gets right again, and then they start to move. They're always going to be funny. They're always going to be funny money with you. So you always want to keep that away from you. To keep that away. Solid, straightforward people is the best way to go.
All right, for the next thing, and I let people know this up front. If we're in business together, I don't want to be approached by brothers, cousins, any one of those people who are not a stakeholder. You were to let these people. There's no reason why they should know who I am or anything else, right? I don't want to talk to people who are not stakeholders here because bringing all these come on, man. We know the degrees of separation for an F boy or F girl to show up. We know what the degrees of separation are. It's really not that difficult, and it's like, and this kind of dovetails into people who have multiple unchecked women around. Like that's not an impressive feat to me. How much ass you get? That means nothing to me. That means that you are reckless and bringing these super hungry personnel around could cause us both some problems in the actual future.
I have found women to be so dangerous in many respects. Having them close to you if they're not a person who you have no physical relationship with. They're strictly on business, and they are professional in what's going on. Outside of that, and that means they have to be a key stakeholder. If they are not, that means you're not fucking them. You don't have any kind of physical relationship with them at all. It's
Yep.
a strictly business relationship, strictly on business, and it's dollars and cents at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, and we're dealing with that, and we're dealing with the activity of that enterprise, and that's got to work, point by point every day. If that's not what you're on, there's no reason to have them around. If you got some woman who you're dealing with on the side, and that's just it, then that's just it. Don't bring them close to your business. Don't bring them anywhere around. That is the worst thing to have, and too many people have paid a price for that. And any smart business person is not going to is actually not going to engage in that. But you see people who are very reckless, and and they bring this around to them, and you pay a price because boy, these a lot of these women are not going to be very serious about business. They're going to come in there and they're going to try to leech off you as well. You got to give them and give them and give them. They're not going to be giving a whole lot back after a while, and you're going to find yourself in a very tough situation with them, and then you could find yourself under legal problems that you would have wished you would have never seen. And unfortunately, I've seen people get caught up into that, and it's always very costly.
All right, so for the next one, it's we gonna be here for a while, unfortunately. But this is why it's a bad idea to deal with these player type dudes, bringing all these random people around you. You don't know what they told them. You don't know what they told them about your business or what they do. You don't know what they told these people to keep these people around. You don't know. You don't know that you could be the actual lick here. You don't know, and you don't know how hungry of personnel that she can actually bring around to actually ruin things too. And this is kind of a man and a woman thing. Like, okay, so let's say that you have a woman business partner and you're not physically involved with her at all, but she's still out there on the hood dude shit. It's the same problem. You bring these hungry ass dudes around, they're gonna be wanting to leave with something that they didn't earn or they don't think that they earned.
Fact. What do you? What would you have hood dudes?
I don't
The,
know, man.
we you have hood dudes around you for nah, man, nah, no. not gonna have hood dudes around. I, I have. They're never around in my environment. They're nowhere to be seen. They're black men around, certainly very sharp brothers, but hood
Yeah,
dudes with the hood mentality. It's a hood
yeah,
mentality that's there that you have to that's dangerous, and that's something you don't want to have anywhere near you. Because these people all of a sudden they can also get real tight about small things. They're very petty, and all kind of crazy stuff can just pop up out of left field, out of nowhere, and no reason to even have them around to even bring that level of madness and chaos towards you.
yeah. But I mean, at some certain point, you just got to be like me. I have no sympathy, no empathy, no respect, no tolerance for this type of nonsense. Period. I
None.
don't care what they think because they're just too jealous. They think that things belong to them. They overstate their actual contributions, uh, regardless of how big or small it is. And they're just waiting to become Maggle plus one and they're going to try to mutiny you out of your own stuff. I've seen it happen way too many times.
And a lot of them will come up and think that you actually owe them something for very little they bring to the table. Nah, you don't want to have that around you. Don't want to have that around you, and want to actually get paid or compensated for stuff that they're not really even doing. Want to get complimented for it. Nah, brother.
Even
Nah.
though Cedric Webb, I have this actually slated as something else, but just never do business with weak ass men. Period. Weak ass men, you cannot do business with because they're gonna let women walk all the f over them,
Oof.
and actually, she's gonna be in that dude's head trying to mess up your business. So that's what I'm saying. Like if you're married, like also consider these dudes who be jumping through multiple women also simps as well. Like I don't like I said, no like, love, care, zero tolerance, no respect for. At some point you got to get that stuff up, and I can't just have these people around. It's just like the Justice League, man. There's plenty of people in the Justice League. Not everybody came to the Batcave. Not everybody came to the Batcave.
I have so many examples of this.
Oh, too many.
It's
I can do a whole show on it.
yeah, it's big. It's big, but a lot of these guys walking around. Well, I can't do this unless my wife is in this, and all. You see a lot of this kind of talk, and
Uh,
it's just really way out there. And these women will come in and they will try to sabotage things at times. They will try to sabotage you if you're trying to move forward. I've seen this happen. I had just very quickly, and this is something that I had experienced some years ago. I had a friend. He was older. He had gone to school, got but married this one woman, and yeah, he was going to school a little bit later in life, but he had made some good money in real estate and so forth, and all that. But he actually wanted to pursue a career as someone in the medical field. Now he was kind of making a change. He was in his mid 30s, but he was actually looking at a medical career. Went to undergrad, had all straight A's and everything else like that. Then his wife started to do things that knocked him off of his path.
yeah,
And I was like, listen, you got if you want to get this done, I was so glad to see just how he was evolving. Then I saw his woman actually sidetrack him, and she started to do things that took his attention from what he was on to the crap she was starting to do, and that was all designed to take him off of his path, and it worked. And our friendship after that, even though it was something he was doing, did kind of it eroded at a certain level because I saw just how he let a woman who was in some respects, and in some levels, in some ways, almost kind of beneath him. Literally sidetrack him and take him off a path that would have been a lot better for him in certain ways, as the way for him to meet his own dreams. And I saw that. And there's nothing I can do because I'm not married to him. So you know, ain't not a damn thing I can do. She was there sidetracking him, and it was very difficult to see. But it just showed you just how how much influence they can have in tearing you out of the frame. And I experienced that myself even when I was buying some property in South America. My ex-wife at the time was trying to stop me from doing that, and I did it. And we ran into a lot of problems with that, but it was a great move that I did that on my own because that's a source of income for me today that works actually quite well that she didn't have. So, but she was trying to sidetrack me from that. And if I had listened and got involved with what she was trying to push and so forth, I wouldn't have done it, and it would have hurt me in the long run. So you have to understand how they have different motivations, and they will push certain kinds of ideals on you that will sidetrack you and shut you down if you don't thoroughly understand that. And it takes some people a while to do. Others understand this very easily and don't let that happen. So, but it's a dangerous game, and you have to be aware of that. You really do. Anyways, go ahead.
Let me give you an example. On the other side, there's a women business partner I had. Not going to say which business, but they were married coming in. He claimed he didn't want nothing to do with it. Next thing you know, she quit her fucking job, man. She quit her fucking job because we're doing so quote unquote well and shit. And I'm like, you stop working when? It's like everybody's still here working professionals. It's just like, well, we're doing so well. Well, I just thought that I'd just sit here and do this. It's like, no, we're not here to do that. And you know what she did? She, on paper, divorced her husband so that way she could take her quote unquote share out of the actual business. And then once she left, things got even better. You know what she did? She tried to buy her way back into the fucking organization at the amount that she got out of it with, knowing full well we know that divorce was fake and it was about taking money out of the organization because they had some type of situation going.
Horrifying. Um, the only situation I've seen a few situations that have worked well. Not to say that these can't, but one of the best situations I had, my brother and I, we were now my brother and I, we've been involved in some business together. That's for real estate, and he's done very well and sharp guy, and we moved on that with respect to being equals. So that has worked out because we see things the same way. But there was a house that we were developing in Connecticut, and there was this brother who was running with this very sharp sister. She actually was in. She was a corrections officer. Actually, it's kind of interesting. She was in the Department of Corrections, and he's an accountant. But yet, this woman, they actually helped to get a really good guy for us who helped to build some fences for us and stuff like that on the property. Just really sharp, really sharp brother who was very good at very good at working and he could almost build or work with anything. But this guy's wife actually could get on her hands and knees. She could put down a linoleum floor or a wooden floor. She could hang fixtures. She could damn near do a full bathroom on herself by damn near installing one. This woman had skills that she could bring to the table, and they worked together like crazy. And the amount of properties that they started buying in this one area, it was mostly white folks. And they were buying up these houses. These white people were just getting mad. They couldn't do a damn thing to them, but they were just getting mad that here was this black couple buying up all these homes, refurbishing them, selling them, making dough. Folks started getting angry at them, just getting mad, but they couldn't do anything because these people were really working together. So if you have a good partner who really understands the assignment and works well with you and can bring a lot to the table as well, that really can work. It can really work, and you can do very well. But that tends to be a bit more rare than you could say is you know that tends to be more rare than being more common because this young lady was someone who did not shy away from work and didn't expect to just to sit down and be taken care of. Oh, we're gonna make a little bit of money now. You can just take care of me. No, she wasn't like that. Worked as business partners, and they've made a lot of money. They've made a lot of money over the last, I'd say 5 or 6 years. They made a lot of money, a few million, and they've done very well, very well. And this is like I said, this woman can literally get here and do a lot of work herself. And so if you run into someone like that, you're in good hands. But you have to be a certain kind of man as well to deal with someone like that because you have to be able to see, a woman like that who and where her value is. Um, and just the average jamoke is not going to run into people like this. So they have a very successful um, business that works. Very rare. So very rare thing. So I have seen it. I've seen it where it's worked wonderfully, and they are extremely strong together. And a few $1,000,000 will help you. That'll keep you together as well when you're
Yeah.
working together.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
That'll keep you
Nobody wants
together.
to walk out when things are going well. It's always a little issue when everybody wants to head toward the exits over something simple. Yeah, but
Yeah,
let's go to the next one. The next one on here is about the substance abuse piece. Man, you bad news all the way around. Wife, husband, spouse, kids, anything you know about it. You better know about it before it blows up in your face. Better
very,
know about it. Better handle it. It's too many people, too many stories. And I'm not talking about alcohol either. It's never alcohol. It's way, and we're not talking about marijuana either. So we're taking both of those off the table, even though those can be a problem. We're definitely not talking about those things.
hmm, yeah. Bottom line, very important. I remember when I first moved up into the area that I had first bought with my wife and family. This was many years ago, and it was a nice house we bought. Very nice home. And I was talking to this one white lady who was there, and she says, a lot of people here come into this area. It looks bucolic and everything else like that, but they don't understand the drugs. They're clueless. And here's an area mostly white, mostly all white, rolling hills, land, lakes, this type of stuff, looking real off the chain. And it was one of the biggest drug areas that you could think about. And people were suffering quietly in their nice homes, their kids in their basements, dealing with problems that were literally sent by a demon. So this drug issue and understanding that from the get is very, very, very important. It's hit a lot of people very heavily. It's hit our community heavily. I've had to deal with that kind of stuff in my family or around or over the years. And it is a very, 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 very serious deal, and it can hit anybody, and you have to really have your eyes open to that because if you don't, it can creep up and nail you when you think everything's going well, and if you're not keen to what's going on, it can get you. And like I said, this one lady was like, "You will know it up here. It looks like a certain way," and she was warning me. You're moving here into this area. It's a nice area, but you better look out. A lot of white folks. We're all whitey up here, but there's more drugs than Pfizer flowing around. Keep your eyes on it. Don't take
Man,
don't take your eyes off it. And it's a great warning. Because it was very real.
all right. So the next one. I know it's how it's gonna sound, but I'm not dealing with anybody with them sexual charges, man. Like if you move into the neighborhood and the credit company is giving me alert, or I get an alert from the Arapahoe County that a certain XYZ person have moved into the area. Nah, we can't have that kind of stuff around. Can't be around doing anything because you'll have these people. They'll have their sons and daughters, quote unquote, involved with things, and you don't know that these people have these type of charges, and you just got to get the bylaws down to where you're not dealing with any of this stuff in any capacity at all. Because the last thing you need is some PR disaster because this person's past or background, no matter how cool they are or whatever. All this stuff's about things going right. I'm about putting the best foot forward so things can go right. A lot of people want to leave a lot of slack and leeway in there so that way the fun can come in, which they mean the dumb can come in, ruin things. But that's something that you got to make sure that it's just not.
Bottom line, nothing else to say. Bottom line.
Yeah. So for the next one, you got to have a plan of growth for your actual business and personal because we don't need nobody stagnating around anywhere if you're going to be going to business with. Like me, I don't want to be around somebody who's in the same position unless they're in charge of running some stuff for like a certain period of time. People get comfortable, they get stagnant. You never know what these people be on because if you're doing all this increase and sales and connections and this person is just not really bringing nothing to the table. I mean, operations managers and directors and managers and supervisors get fired all the time for not bringing anything to the organization, and you got to make sure that this is happening in yours as well.
Uh, that's such a critical point because business is always in flux. You see businesses that were successful 5 years ago and now they're out of business today. What happened? They were bringing in over $1 million a year, if you will, in profits and so forth, millions in that, and that. Now they're not. What happened? Why did that happen? Oh, the people were just bad spending? No, what happened? A lot of folks were not prepared for a lot of changes that can happen in this business. Just like I look at this whole staffing industry and how this business has changed in so many ways. Certain things are very similar, but other things have changed. And you have to consistently move to the changes and be aware of what's going on and constantly moving your or shaping your business model to work as things change. Things are constantly moving. You have to consistently broaden your base. You have to stay at that. You have to be there. And that's something that, a lot of people, they get stagnant and they don't see changes. They don't look at what are some of the new trends that are going on. If you don't understand that, you're going to get buried by it. And so that's why you may be safe for a short period, but you're never safe. You're never safe. You always have to consistently improve your business model because there's always some level of competition. There's always something happening inside of an industry that changes. There's always something going on that can make you safe one day and gone the next. So that is exactly it. And if you don't have people that are around you, that are in your business, that are smarter than you are as well, it's always good to have people around you that are smarter than you, who can give you more information. You may have a higher position, but they're still very intelligent about certain things. All right. And like I never forgot this literally from Sun Tzu, The Art of War. They was talking about King Holu of Chu was sitting with his council, and he sat there and had a council meeting with his leaders and said he got out of that meeting and said, no one has an opinion that was better than mine. I had the strongest and the best opinions out of and the best look outlook than everyone else in my council chambers. The state of Chu is in trouble. So he understood that if he didn't have people in there that were sharper than him and nobody could equal his nobody can equal his opinion. He was the sharpest one in there. He knew these guys. He knew he was in trouble. So you have to have that around you, and always have good mentors. Always have good mentors around you who know more than you. Very, very, very important.
All right. So no matter what it is, when it comes to the procurement of anything, it has to be legal, traceable, and trackable that everybody agrees on. Because it could be a drop in quality, could be gotten through some kind of less than legal means. We could be getting some stuff from China that could have a ton of problems that things would normally get, tracked and traced in the United States. It's just a bad thing to not know your actual supply chain from beginning to end. You should know that from beginning
Wow,
to end.
wow, critical, critical.
Yeah, you should know that. A lot of people make that mistake. Oh, I'm gonna shave a couple points here, a couple points there. Somebody's in charge of this, and next thing you know, you don't have a certain ingredient, and next thing you know, nothing works. I see people run into this in the food industry all the time, where they choose Restaurant Depot of all low quality food sources to actually source their actual restaurant, and they use like you know it, it the difference between good meat and bad meat is literally pennies on the dollar. The difference between good vegetables and bad vegetables is literally pennies on the dollar. You really don't have to cut corners on things that you normally should. If you're trying to cut corners on the actual formulation of the actual product, they're trying to have this southern approach to labor and this southern approach to procurement. That stuff just really don't work in the real world. Not in modern society. It don't.
It certainly doesn't. My brother's dealing with that currently right now with his restaurant, and he's doing very well with it. He opened it up. I have to admit, I didn't want to get into the restaurant business with him, but I kind of regret that I didn't do it in some ways because he is doing very well. But his supply chain and his procurement, who he's dealing with right now, are some key people, and there's no reason to cut corners because you are definitely going to get the best from there, and you have to have the best to work. You have to have the best product working for you, and to cut corners on that and to try to you know shortcut that in some ways is really going to hurt you in the longer run. And I've talked about that, and I have to give him a lot of credit. He's is a very sharp guy, and he's doing very well in that regard. So very smart. And look, that's an excellent point. Excellent.
No, that's a good point. Just later on down the line, but you got to make sure that you have somebody on hand to talk to all the time. Part of the team. Have to be part of the team. Doesn't matter how much you hit them up for anything. Worth every penny, worth every dollar. The meeting minutes have got to be taken so that way you can say that you've already covered this and this is how we was legally going to deal with this actual issue. Because when you have access to counsel, you don't get BS code violations that can shut your business down.
And buddy, that costs you.
A
That
lot.
costs you.
Yeah. You're
That
gonna have to keep paying them
that
lights,
costs you.
gas, water, sewage, trash, everything on top of being down. So people don't try you and mess with you if they know that you got some legal backing on your side. A lot of people forget about that, but that is as much of a part of anything as anything else.
And yeah, as a lawyer, you have to have a lawyer and retainer on a consistent basis, and have your legal counsel in place, and constantly ready to move because we are in a litigious society. Um, things are things could come down on you in a heartbeat that you may not even see, and it's not so much what you can see, but it's also what you might not be able to see that you have to be prepared for as well. And that's where you have counsels and so forth and involved that really help see through these types of circumstances.
Yeah, and as you grow, you have to increase the pay for people too. You can't have this southern approach to labor to where you're having people filing in and out of your organization because of pay.
It's funny. Um, I was dealing with this one agency recently, and they they have a turnover effect. This one guy came from Europe, and he took over this one agency, if you will. It's actually in healthcare and IT, and not paying his people well, turning over all over the place. Has a book of very strong business, but is starting to have problems with the enterprise, and that bottom line, what you're talking about right there, is what's hurting them. And and I just look at it, just started kind of laughing a little bit because I'm like, boy, you can have all the stuff in place, but if you're not handling this thing properly and dealing with people right, you can mess it up as well. Just just an excellent point to be made.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people, they just don't understand it. I pay for problems not to have. If I ever have to have a conversation with somebody, it's most likely to be the last conversation. I don't want to sit here and like babysit people and all that kind of stuff. But if it comes to the point to where I have to address it, it's normally going to be the last time it's going to be addressed, or there's going to be some course correction plan or something.
Yeah, that's key. It's key. Have the right people in place, pay the people the right money, you get good results.
Philosophy of good, man. Good people, good mission, good equipment, good outcome, no doubt. But all right, so let's go into this other piece, man. You just got to have like a good managerial structure itself, and this what I mean by just not having a lot of riffraff around and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of spreads to the organization by having your stuff together, and you hire people who have their stuff together, and things work. But like a lot of people think that they're just gonna, oh, I'm just gonna put this person in this place and that person in that place. Once you start slacking, man, everybody's gonna know that this favoritism thing is going on, and that's something that you just don't need.
Well, as we always say with in an organization and how things work, you know, the fish does rot from the head down. So it always comes down to, the person who is at the helm. If, you're not bringing in the right people and you're not dealing with that, when you start seeing those kind of problems happen, to a large extent, it's so much of the fault it actually can be on you. So you really have to be very careful to make sure that you are, without question, bringing on the right folks and expecting results from those people that you put in those positions. And it's for them, and if you've chosen them right, you will get the proper results from them. You cannot expect people who don't have that talent to put them in that position and expect them to perform. That's just not realistic. So you have to make sure you have the right people, the right place, to make things happen properly, and that comes down so much from the helm. And if the person that you put in the right place is not operating properly, then you made a bad hire, and now you have to shift and move. But bad hires cost you as well, so you always want to make sure you're doing you're making the right moves. It's a difficult process in certain ways. Um, but it's certainly a necessary one, and you have to understand how that works. Well, I mean, if you thoroughly follow what I'm saying, MOT.
Yeah, man, like you, it's rather unfortunate, man, but everybody got to have an in case ish happens plan.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because having to get rid of someone, move someone else into that position, and all that, It's tough, but it does happen. But those who tend to be a lot better at that tend not to tend not to make as many of those mistakes as others who are a lot worse at it. And I've seen this happen many times. And even with my own business and working with folks, you have to be very careful about things. And it's important. It's important, and and you learn some hard lessons as well.
Oh yeah, man, because people gonna file in and out of your organization on an expected basis, and you got to be able to recreate that magic with the people who you hire. You
Yep.
can't be getting caught, with the quote unquote pants down, literally. You have a person who had this actual position within your actual company. And now you can't even run things appropriately and right because you you, you didn't have it in case it happened.
Yep.
I mean, to the
Yep.
point to where your whole business could be down because you don't know what you're
Oof.
doing. Yeah, yeah, man. Like, I went from having a yard to having HR people to accounts receivable to having none of that, and other people doing other things. Like, dude, you got to be able to move the way that you need to, and in a rush and in a hurry because you just never know what could happen or what could go on. Or did I have people died in organization, caused millions of dollars in damage to stuff, all types of things. Trust me.
Yeah, that's why it's so good to have good mentors. In your industry who can also work with your mentor because they help talk you through those types of situations and what to look out for in some of the pitfalls. And hard decisions are tough, but you have to also be prepared to make those as well. And what's here? Are you there?
Sorry about that. I had a phone call come in. Yeah,
Wow.
man. So, for the last piece, man, it's just that people can move with a degree of confidence, man. I don't know why they refuse to do so, but it's your life we're talking about. So, I mean, for the last piece, it's just having zero tolerance for underperforming, just incredibly useless individuals. Like you gotta develop that hatred for 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 people who don't do shit right. You have to. If you care about things work, you gotta start having this very ultimate overlapping level of disdain for personnel who doesn't do things properly.
You have to clip them like hangnails. In fact, after a while, it becomes a reason of where you don't really get involved with even getting emotional behind it because you start getting your feelings all caught up. It puts a lot more stress on you and so forth. When you see these people and they're full of crap, get rid of them. It's one thing if somebody is having an issue, but yet they're working hard, they're pressing, they're really trying to move forward, they're really trying to get their game going, and they're putting a lot of effort and time into it. That's a worthwhile situation for you. Someone who is not, and they're just making a mess of things, you drop them faster than shit through a goose, and you keep it moving.
Yeah, man. Because I have a hard time with this because people want to keep up these bullshit relationships that are not really worthwhile of anything, right? And for some reason, the whole team end up, you know, taking the fall for a guy who just couldn't clip a certain personality in life. They feel like they're so culturally ingrained to need these type of useless ass people around. And it's just that man, he could have been so much better, but he was just dead set on keeping these dumb people around. I just don't get it.
It's that's destructive. If you're gonna keep, that's like keeping a cancer hanging in you. Oh, I got a cancer, but I'm not gonna remove it. Okay, you know, yeah, no benefit in doing such.
I mean, because if you look at this space as an actual example of things that don't need to be done, is you just looked at there was no real the people who cared about the actual space wanted there to be hard controls in space, but the people who literally didn't care about anything were the people who were talking about numbers and spaces for entertainment and all this type of other nonsense that don't nobody believe, but they was allowed to get away with. Certain associations happened, and all of a sudden you have to do the bidding of certain people. Once you get your numbers up, you kind of stand off, and next thing you know, you're another one of these 1,000 people that are on a panel because you cannot make sense of things in a quick time, man. So
Yeah, and they're not here to improve things anyway. They're not here for that. Not here for that.
and for the last thing, I don't believe in this idea of get the bag nonsense. I don't believe in that. Obviously, you know, a lot of people use that as an excuse to actually keep things around that shouldn't be around and all this kind of other stuff. I think that a lot of people just want to leave room for a lot of nonsense to be around when it just simply just doesn't need to be. And this seems to be the thing that all of these individuals hide behind is the resource generation through illicit means. And it somehow has to be celebrated for some dumbass reason. They just can't do things the right way and leave things out of here that don't belong.
Yeah, that's that that's bottom line right there. That's bottom line right there. It's big part of our problem.
I think it's an individual failing. I don't think it's a group problem.
Well, we have a lot of individuals like that. Let's just say.
I mean, because of everybody operated with some type of mode and manner of principle. Like it's almost like people avoid and dodge principle and things working effectively and properly. Right? It's almost like they avoid that like play for some reason.
Well, if you have no principles, why would you expect them to operate from a standpoint of principles? Why would you expect that?
But it's like they don't have any principle, and then they come to a space that is meant for something very specific, and then they turn it into something that's incredibly generalized, which doesn't make any sense.
Well, well, if you came here without principles and you're operating now with no principles, that doesn't that's not a surprise. That actually is not a surprise to me.
Yeah, it's just to me, it's just nuts. To me, it's just nuts. And it's almost like the people who expect the most from the space are the people who are doing the very least for the actual space itself.
Well, a lot of people want a lot for nothing. A lot of people want to. A lot of people want to lay back and accept, take credit for doing the work, and then expect to receive. I've seen
You
that.
know,
I've seen that
they
all
want to
over.
put in their StreamYard time, man, but they don't want to really do anything or anything of value except for start fires and walk away from.
Bring no value at all. But start fires. Yeah, it's what it is. Is what it is. I see
And
it
you
all
get
over.
rewarded by the cowards of the actual space when that happens. So it's like, okay, so when is this supposed to get fixed? Or how is it supposed to get fixed? And if you have a bunch of cowardly, unmotivated, non participatory personnel who side with the wrong thing on purpose and then they expect progress.
Well, the big question is, what are you expecting them to fix? What are they expecting to fix?
Yeah, at this point. Yeah, man. So you have anything else before we get up out of here?
Excellent, um, excellent stream. It was needed. And
Yeah.
thank you for inviting me up.
All
MOT.
right, cool. All right, cool, man. Yeah. I want to thank you guys for coming through, man. This is chapter two of this ongoing series that we're gonna have. So I want to thank you guys for coming through on the man. Tomorrow you guys have a really nice rest of y'all night. Peace.